The Halloween streets are full of people, voices, traffic, screams, murmurs, footsteps, horns. A cacophony of sounds invades each of the people walking from one side to the other. Those people who form a block transporting which herd. It is a weekday, lunchtime. The sun is up high in the evening in the middle of the city, which is the buildings reaching the sky. Its rays can be seen and felt, or at least that's what I imagine. I can't feel them. I don't feel the sun, nor the wind, not even the mixture of aromas of the different food places. My body doesn't react to anything. For me, the world has become an eternal night. People are nothing more than shadows, blurred figures that pass from one side to the other. Without stopping to look, I cannot hear them, nor feel them, nor recognize them. Their faces are a featureless blur. I can barely make out if they are even human or not. My life was not always like this. Before, I could see the world as it really was, colorful, bright, amazing. I used to hate weekends, cities, crowds. I used to hate it because I could see every face, distinguish every scent, react to every sound, grow old with those I love. I don't hate it anymore, now I miss it. It all started at a Halloween party. The last one I organized last October. I had wanted to organize one for a long time, so I was doing it. Excited for months. I would invite all my friends, buy the best decorations, make the best meals. Everything would be perfect, but it was not. Nothing was perfect. A few weeks before the party, while I was looking for decorations on eBay, I found one in particular that caught my eye. There were two hands, open, bony, and chilling. The object looked quite old, and that gave me more creepy vibes than ever. I figured it out, and it would be perfect for the party, so I bought it. When it arrived, I didn't take it out of the package until the day of the party. I did the same with all the other decorations, as I didn't want anyone to see them when they came home from the other things. I wanted everything to be a surprise. When the day finally came, I began to tidy up the whole house. In the front garden, I placed several hollow pumpkins with lights inside them to greet the guests. I also placed life-size skeletons by the door so that it seemed that it was welcoming everyone. As a butler, small herds of bats decorated the staircase. I hung plastic spider webs in the corners and on the lamps. Little ghosts, black cats, and witches decorated the tray. Decorations in various places around the house with the intention of scaring some of my friends. The stuffed spiders sticking out of the bathroom mirror were one of my favorites. When I took the palms out the box, I was mesmerized at how they looked. They were even creepier in person. They were made out of white material, similar to marble, just as cold and white, but not as hard. They were so detailed. The veins, tendons, and the bones could be easily distinguished. The nails were long and sharp, just as white as the rest of the piece. The support on which they were leaning was made of a dark and shiny wood. There was no description anywhere, no mark, not even a scratch. It was strange to see that they were so pristine but still looked so old. I was observing them for several minutes in wonder until I decided to place them on a small table near the entrance next to the lamp that I had decorated with cobwebs. Guests began arriving shortly. All my friends were there, and they showed up in the most variety of costumes. I distinguished myself as a vampire with the false teeth and all. The party was incredible. We drank, we played, we laughed. Everything seemed to be going wonderful. And I felt splendid to see my friends enjoying everything I had prepared. There were even some were looking very spooky with the decorations that sat behind them. I had bought and arranged everything specifically for that, so I was proud as well. The night progressed and some children rang the bell to receive their sweets. Little princesses, princes, werewolves, vampires, mummies, and knights. Everyone went through the door and received their candy. After midnight, when all the children had returned home, our party continued. At one point, I was talking to one of my friends. I was leaning against the back of the sofa and my eyes drifted from her face to her hands. I didn't know why, but there was something about them that had been calling to me all night, like they wanted my full attention. My eyes were fixed on the white palms, on the sharp nails, on the tendons molded in the strange material. The edges of my vision started to turn black, but I didn't feel bad. For some reason, I couldn't take my eyes off those hands. The minutes seemed to turn into hours. All the notion of time became useless in my brain. I didn't blink once while looking at them. My vision became increasingly black. The light went out, and my surroundings seemed to cease to exist. Eventually, the hands turned black, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was startled. There was a lot of light around me, such as a contrast to the previous darkness that I was laying in. Then my head started to ache. I remember grabbing my head with both hands, closing my eyes tightly, trying to make the pain stop and the light to go out. When I opened my eyes again, I realized I was on a gurney. I looked around, finding one of my friends sitting in a chair next to me. "You passed out," he told me. His tone of voice was concerned. "We didn't know what happened to you. It looked like you hit your head when you fell, so we called 911 and they brought you to the hospital." I could hear his words, but their meaning eluded me slightly. I had passed out looking at my palms. I wasn't sure what he was telling me. My friend also told me that I had been unconscious for most of the day, and the Halloween party was over and the visiting hours were about to finish and he had to leave soon. After a moment, he said goodbye to me and left. Moments later, a doctor approached me. I don't remember their face nor their name. I don't even remember if it was a man or a woman. Everything was a blur. What I do remember is the information they informed me. I had suffered a small contusion, but that blow did not hurt me too bad. But it was strong enough I needed to go to the hospital. But I would be able to return home soon. I was in the hospital until the next morning. During the night, they did more studies on me and let me go with a recommendation I do not make too much effort in the next few days. When I returned home, most of the decorations had been removed and the traces of the party cleaned up. I silently thanked my friends for doing this and made a mental note to thank them the next time I saw them. I finished arranging the things that had been left out during the day, trying to not strain myself as the doctor had said. For some reason, I didn't get close to the hands until late that night. There was something inside me that prevented me from going to the place where they were, but eventually I had to get closer. And then my heart raced at what I saw. The palms, once open as if welcoming, were now closed. It seemed as if they were trying to contain something, as if they caught something and didn't want to let it go. I touched them, trying to test if they would move, because maybe one of my friends had left them that way. But they were as firm as before. It was impossible to move them. I did not understand what was happening at the time. I'm still not sure I know what's going on here, but over time I discovered that this was not just a decoration. I tried to put them in the box they came in, but no matter how much I put them in there, they would return to their place on the table. At first I thought I was just confused, that I had only intended to put them away, and then I had it. But as the days passed, that was not the case. I tried to put them in a box, hide them, get them out the house, and they returned to the place over and over. But that was not the only change. As the days passed, as the hands continued to slip away, I began to notice changes in myself, in my body, in my thoughts, and the way I saw and felt the world. The first thing I felt was the sensation of being watched. No matter where I went, the feeling was always there. At home, at work, in the car, I turned over and over again, trying to find who was following me and watching, but there was never anyone. At first, I thought it was just a feeling, and it was surely my imagination for everything that happened in a few days. But then I began to feel a compression in my chest, as if my ribs was being squeezed. At the time, it was difficult for me to breathe, and at others, I felt like I was in a very small room, even when I was outdoors. I went back to the hospital, but no one could find any problems. They attributed it to stress and let me go home, but my house had become torture because the hands were still closed there, closed as if they want to keep me contained, oppressed. The darkness is what followed. With each new day, it would seem as if the sun became less bright, as if a twilight invaded everything. At first, I thought it would be a sign that winter was approaching, but then I realized that even at noon, with the sun high, the world seemed dark. Everything around me began not only to darken, but also to blur. Things stopped having distinguishable edges. It was as if I was looking behind a curtain of water all the time. Once again, I headed to the hospital, believing that perhaps something was wrong with my eyesight, but again, no one could find anything. Everything was perfect. My body was perfect. And still, I could feel everything getting worse and worse. I started to get hungry all the time. No matter what I ate, I was never satisfied. The same thing happened with the drink. My throat felt dry the whole time I was awake, and no matter what I took, I still had the intense thirst. Eventually, I couldn't take anything, not food, not water, nothing. I also stopped being able to sleep, no matter how much I laid down. Closed my eyes, the dream didn't come, it never came, but neither did fatigue. I knew that something beyond reason was invading me, and I was sure it had to do with those damn hands. So I tried my best to get rid of them. I threw them in the trash, tried to break them, threw them across the street. From the roof, I went to the river and threw them into its depths, but they always came back to the little table next to the lamp. They had not changed since the incident. they were still closed, and I convinced myself that what they were containing was my own life, as if they wanted to protect it from something or someone. The feeling of being watched never went away. In fact, like other symptoms, it got worse. The pressure on my chest is still there, and sometimes I could swear someone is watching me. It is no longer just a feeling. When I would turn around, I can see a strange shadow behind me. The shadow of a woman, or it seems. She watches me, she chases me. I don't know who she is or what she wants. The sensation is strange. At this point, I don't even know how much time has passed since the Halloween party. I have no idea when the days change, because for me the world is dark all the time. I can no longer distinguish people, and as I look at them, bustly streets, standing here in the middle of it, I think about everything that has happened. People pass me as if they can't see me either. I don't know how they look at me because their eyes are blurry points on even the blurred face. They have no features. I can barely distinguish skin from hair or clothes, and she's there behind me watching me. I decide to start running. I have tried this before and it has not worked, but I decide to try one more time. I run to the river, to the ravine. She follows me close. I can feel her. Even though the whole world is blurry, she appears to be sharp, as if she's the only thing in the world that matters. I keep running until I jump into the water. I don't need to take a breath because I'm sure that I have also stopped breathing at some point, just as I have stopped eating and sleeping. The bottom of the river is covered with rocks, and despite hitting my head hard, I remain conscious. No blood comes out of the wound. I can't die, and she watches me furiously. How dare I escape from her? No one escapes from her, and that angers her even more. I don't know how I know this. I just know the hands continue to hold something, trapping. Perhaps they are protecting. Maybe they're protecting me, and that's what makes her so mad. I don't know how many hours pass until I get out of this river. I'm soaked, even though it's already nighttime. I don't feel cold, as always. Hunger and thirst settle in my body, but I don't even try to calm them. I know how it is, how it would end. I can't eat or drink. What's the point of trying? I walk to my house and she follows me. She always follows me. She seems to be more furious now. Maybe watching me challenge her in the river made it worse. I don't know. I don't want to find out either. When I get home, I go straight to the hands. They remain same, closed. I gently touch the cool white surface. I look everywhere. She is on the other side of the door. The hours go by and neither of us move. I look at the hands and something whispers to me. They speak a strange language, but I could understand it. We have your life. It belongs to us, the whisper seems like hundreds of voices speaking at the same time. The voices of the hands. She can't touch you. She never will be able to. Who is she? I ask, but nobody answers. I look towards the door. She is there on the other side. She screams, more furious than ever. The door is slammed open and I see it, the darkest of figures, the sharpest of all, untouchable, embracing, a force impossible to stop. But somehow she cannot touch me. She screams again. I cover my ears with my hands. She looks at the hands, perhaps realizing what is happening. I take several steps back to get away. The voice keeps whispering that I'm theirs, that my life belongs to them, that they are protecting me so that she cannot touch me, and she is furious that my life should have been hers the day at the Halloween party. When my head hit the ground, the hands move. The movement looks like something out of a stop-motion movie, small, slowly, as if displaced from time. My heart races for a moment. I think that the hands will open, going to their original position, and freeing me from her take. But no, the palms close even more. The pressure in my chest increases. The darkness deepens. The feeling of being trapped is greater, but she becomes even angrier. The hands continue to protect me, and they don't want to let me go. I put my hand on my chest and open my mouth like a fish out of water, trying to breathe harder, pure survival instinct. Only when I look up, I see a blurry, dark world around me. Do I remember that I don't need to breathe? That I won't die even if I stop? I smile. She tries to hold the hands, make the palms open, but she can't. The whisper keeps saying that my life belongs to them, and she screams that it should be hers. A fight of wills take place in front of my misty eyes. She wants to take me. The hands won't let me go. She screams, the hands whisper, and my life is in between. My life that has become a specter of what it is. I am still living in spite of everything. Can I call this a life? I don't know. I don't want to ask or think about it too much. The darkness grows, and then she screams louder than ever before. Everything turns dark, and I'm not sure if I'll have lost consciousness or just vision. An infinite moment passes, minutes, hours, days, maybe years. I have no idea. When the absolute darkness disappears, I am still at home. The hands are always closed. The day is dark, and the world is blurry. She is gone. Your life belongs to us forever, says the whisper.
Subscribe and please like. Thanks for tuning in and listening.